So I've made $306,371 from webinars. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Most coaches are constantly chasing new leads, right? Posting new content every day, running ads to get in front of new people, and sending cold DMs. All of this is, again, designed to get in front of new people. But what a lot of people miss is you could make sales from the audience you already have. And this is exactly what webinars do. Instead of always hunting for new leads, you can help convert the ones who are already following you into high-paying clients at scale with webinars. If you do these things right, a single webinar can generate 5 to 6 figures in sales in just 1 hour, okay? And in this presentation, I'm gonna break down my step-by-step process so you can start using webinars to sign more coaching clients too. All right, so we're over here on my computer now, and let me just first let you know why I'm making this video. One, I'm preparing a webinar next week, so I looked back at all of my data from the past webinars I've done. I was curious, what percentage of my clients actually come from webinars? And up to this point, we do webinars probably once a quarter, maybe twice a quarter. And I essentially did this. So you can see this is ChatGPT. These names over here are blurred out. I essentially went into my Go High Level CRM and saw anybody who was tagged webinar, means that they have attended a webinar. I put that into ChatGPT, and then I uploaded a Stripe document, which you won't be able to see here. Just, it won't let me show it anymore. And then I said, how many paying clients came from webinars? And how much money did it generate? And all this to say, it kind of went this way, and it pulled the Stripe data and it cross-checked it against my CRM, and it said, you've made $306,371.78 off of webinars. And the average person who attended a webinar paid you $5,042.35. I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. I'll let you know, like, some of our highest paying clients also have came from webinars, right? So this was one up here. It's like, hey, we had a $24,000 client that also came from a webinar. They're so good at what they do, right? So again, 20% of our clients have came from webinars. After looking at that data, I'm now like, man, I'm gonna start doing more webinars. Now, the reason you would wanna do a webinar, I kind of put this down over here, is that this allows you to build more face time and trust before making a high ticket sale. We're in a time right now where, these ads of like, I'm looking for 5 people who want this, DM me this word to learn more. Those used to crush, right? I used to get like $10, $20 book calls. Now there's so much competition in the marketplace, and there's so much like distrust that this stuff doesn't work anymore. So now you actually really need to build this know, like, and trust with people before you can buy. And webinars are a fantastic way to do this, right? It's a great way to build trust. The second thing is it's a great way to follow up with old leads. How many people have you talked to, right? Had sales calls with, and maybe you're using a CRM, maybe you're not, but you talk to them once and you don't have a process to follow back up with them, right? You may have had 50, 100, 1,000 sales calls in the past. Those are all leads who got to the point where they got on a call with you. But if you don't have a process to reach back out to them, you're just gonna lose them. But this is a great way. Webinars are a way to clean out your list, or to invite people who you've already talked to about sales back onto the phone. Again, this is one of the biggest reasons we do this. Webinars, yes, they can convert cold traffic, but they're great at the middle of the funnel, like right in the middle, right? Of like a nurture tool to get people who haven't paid you money yet to pay you money, or to get people who've already paid you money to pay you more money, okay? Doing a webinar also allows you to talk directly about your offer, because you're gonna do a 7-day promo, and I'm gonna walk through that in this entire funnel here. We're gonna cover the topic, how to promote it, and if you guys stick around to the end, we're also going to jump into me showing you the landing pages that I use, the software that I use, as well as the slide deck that I use to do a webinar, okay? And last but not least, they just make your ads way more profitable, okay? Because typically what used to happen is you run an ad, right, to a lead magnet, and then someone books a call right away and they become a client. Well, now, at least I'm noticing this in my business, you guys might as well for yours, is that there's typically a longer cycle here. It's like someone sees an ad, right? They download the lead magnet, but they may not talk to me or like buy from me for 30 to 90 days. And a webinar can speed up that process. So that we run ads to a lead magnet, it builds our email list, and then once or twice a quarter, we have been doing webinars. Again, if this does well, we're going to keep increasing this. All right. So this is kind of the funnel here. It builds trust. It allows you to reach back out to old leads that you probably just haven't, right? And it's going to really squeeze your pipeline from all the people who are in your ecosystem to come to your offer. All right. Now let's talk about the webinar topic, right? Because if you've never done a webinar before, you're probably like, what should I talk about? So if you're going to do a webinar, you want the same problem, the title of it to be the same problem you help your clients with, right? So if you help busy dads lose 20 pounds, how to lose your first 20 pounds without sacrificing your weekends, right? How to lose your first 20 pounds without giving up alcohol, right? How to get rid of knee pain in just 6 weeks. How to get rid of knee pain for runners, right? It's who is your ideal avatar that you serve. And that's going to be what you're going to talk about. And that's going to be the title, right? How to lose your first 20 pounds with mechanism, right? This could be with intermittent fasting. I'm hosting mine. You'll see in a second, how to sign 5 to 10 clients a month with Instagram ads. Okay. So that's mine using the mechanism. Mechanism is Instagram ads. A bad example would be like, hey, I'm hosting a webinar on my meal plan strategy or my workout routine or how to prepare food. Those are all crappy because they're not objective, right? Of like, ideally, this is objective. I help busy dads lose 20 pounds. That's going to be the title. I help runners get rid of knee pain. That's going to be the title. I don't want everybody there if they have knee pain. I just want runners who want to get out of knee pain, right? So think about that, right? The topic should be exactly what your offer is. Framework of webinar, and I'll show this again to you guys at the end of this video, is going to be the promise for the webinar, what they're going to learn, right? Highlight the problem and how it's impacting their lives, your origin story and how you dealt with the problem, overcame it to relate to that ideal client. You're going to go into 3 to 5 value points of helping them understand how they can overcome the problem they have. And then at the end, you're going to have a CTA to apply or book a call. All right. That's the very simple framework. Okay. This typically is going to be about 60 minutes to 90 minutes. So an hour to an hour and a half. And let's talk about the promotion period that you're going to use to get this thing full. Okay. So I typically like to host webinars on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Now, the reason that I do this, you'll see it in a second. We can jump down to the bottom and I'll come back, is that I like to only have the webinar available for 72 hours. The reason for that is that it forces consumption. Okay. Because if I just say, hey, come to my webinar, and then like the webinar is going to be up there forever, then people won't come to the webinar, or they won't see it as important to consume it. So I like hosting it on a Tuesday or Wednesday because by Friday or Saturday, I can shut it off. Okay. I guarantee you, this will get you to have more people watch your webinar. Do this, okay? It's going to be a 7-day promotion period, all right? And it's going to be 7 days from that. So today is Tuesday, right? I have my webinar next Tuesday. So I started promoting this actually yesterday, but again, 7 to 8 days, right? So I'll start the week before. The week before, I'm going to email every single day, right? Email every single day. I'm going to post on social media every single day, posts and in stories, right? And then I'm going to send 20 to 100 manual invites to old leads. This right here, I'm going to highlight this because this is the most important thing. And this is what people don't do. And this is what makes webinars very, very profitable, is reaching out to old people you talk to who never bought. Okay. Like this is where you're going to make your money. Okay. I don't get that much engagement when I post on social media from a webinar. When I email my list, I'll get a couple hundred people who will register from my email list, but posting on social, no, okay? It's gonna come from talking to people and emailing my list, all right? Now, let's just get realistic here of how many people you need to say yes to actually have a successful webinar. The average show rate of a webinar is around 30%, okay? So if you want 30 people live, you need 100 people to say yes. All right, and I'm gonna just delete this section here. This one says like yes rate, but that's actually not accurate because you're probably gonna need to send a lot more than 200 to get 100 yeses. You're gonna need to send a lot of messages, right? So if we want 30 people to show, we need 100 yeses. So I'm gonna go ham on sending invites. I'm gonna hit up followers, right? I'm gonna hit up past DM conversations. I'm gonna hit up past sales calls. This is the most important one. And I'm also gonna hit up past clients, okay? Because what this does is it allows you to open up a conversation again from past leads to prospect them again. Because look, nobody likes a sales guy reaching out to them 2 months later after the call and say, hey, so-and-so, how are things going since we last chatted? I know, you know, they know that you're just reaching out because you want them to pay you money and to sign as a client. Well, when you have a webinar and if you do it this way, you're reaching out with value. You're reaching out to say, hey, I'm hosting this free thing of value. It's going to benefit you a ton. You should come. Are you interested? And if they say yes, awesome. Here's the link. Oh, and by the way, how are things going since we last chatted? Now, this is where we can make that progression to see what their goals are, see if they need help, and if so, invite them back to a call. This gives you a reason to reach out to old leads, okay? That's why you should do it at least once a quarter, if not once a month. Okay. So here's a sample voice script of what you would send somebody, because voice, I like to start with a voice memo to invite to these webinars. And then I'll follow up with a text message after if they don't respond. But the voice memo could say, hey name, hope you're doing well. I'm hosting a masterclass next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central on insert topic. And I want to shoot you over an invite. I'm going to cover, what are you going to cover, right? Just say the things you're going to cover. And it's going to be a ton of fun. And I'm going to be giving away some incredible resources on it too. Are you interested in coming? If so, message me back and let me know. We want this to be pretty short and sweet. I hate personally when I open my phone and I see a voice memo that's like 60 seconds long. Hate it. So try to be short and succinct just for the other person on the other line. Okay. Good etiquette. And then 1 to 2 days after that, if they don't respond, just shoot them a message that's text. Okay. Because again, if it's a voice memo, they might not have actually read it. Right? Or listen to it. Hey name, I want to follow up on my voice memo. Interested in joining? And they're going to be like, if they had not listened to voice memo, they're going to be like, joining what? Right? So that's kind of the goal. I don't want to say, hey, you want to come to my webinar? I want this message to create curiosity. So they go and listen to the webinar, right? Or they listen to the voice memo above and then they would respond back. Okay. So that's going to be the promotion, right? Again, we want 100 plus people there if we want 30 people live. If you want 60, 70, 80 people live, you need 200 to 300 yeses. You can do that. You'll be surprised. If you go ham in the DMs, you go ham to your list, you can do that. All right. Now, like I said before, after the webinar is over, I will get to like how to do the webinar and the pages and stuff in a second, but I want to kind of go through the full framework of like how things work. Then I'll show that. Okay. Now, after the webinar, we only want the replay up for about 72 hours. It's going to force consumption. So people watch it, they'll hear your pitch at the end, right? So if your masterclass is on a Tuesday, that's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll be sending emails. Hey, masterclass recording is up right now, right? Hey, masterclass recording plus the bonuses are still available. Day 3 would be like, hey guys, I'm taking the recording down tonight at 5 p.m. If you want blank, 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 make sure you watch that recording. P.S. I also have a special opportunity at the end if you're interested in getting more help, right? Boom. Okay. Then you'll take down the webinar on Saturday. The next thing we're going to talk about is once the webinar is over, you're going to reach out to all the people who attended the webinar and thank them for coming and ask them what was their big takeaway, right? And you're going to DM and prospect them based off what they said, right? Again, the whole goal of a webinar is to get active conversations started again with old leads. So we're going to text all of them. Hey, what was your big takeaway, right? And those who didn't come, let them know. Hey, I saw you registered for last night's masterclass, but didn't make it. Do you want me to send you the recording? Yeah, for sure. It'd be great. Awesome. So how are things going since we last chatted, right? And oftentimes if you had a conversation with them, they'll be like, oh, I'm in the same spot. Gotcha. So you're in the same spot as you were 6 months ago? And they're like, yeah, okay, well, look, I can help, right? Again, you probably wouldn't do that, but you would have a more conversational approach. But the whole goal there is to re-engage old leads, right? Now, targets. Again, we want about 100 plus registrants because 30 to 50% will show up, probably closer to 30%. And of those, the targets we have of those that show up, we want 10 to 20% to book calls. So if I got 50 people live, I would want 5 to 10 people to book calls. And of those, you'll typically see a higher conversion rate because they spend an hour to hour and a half with you before the call. So we're looking at a 30 to 40% sales rate on those calls. So just breaking this down, if you got 100 to register, you got 40 to show, 4 to 8 would book calls, and 1 to 3 would become a client. Okay. So if you want more clients, get more registrations or improve your show rates. Okay. Now, of course, like you may not hit these the first time. Your ability to talk in front of people and pitch may not be as good as mine because I've done dozens of these, right? But over time, this is what we're looking for. And if we're not hitting this, then there's probably a lack of a solid offer in the webinar. Now, I have everybody book calls. I don't necessarily share the exact price. I do give a range. So on all my webinars, I'll say, hey, to work with us, it's between $5,000 and $10,000 because we do have an offer suite. We have different things we can offer, but I'll say it's between $5,000 and $10,000. Here's everything you're going to get, right? Here's our no-brainer guarantee. And if you were to work with us, here's exactly what it looks like week by week. And I walk through the process of what it looks like. Okay. And then I say, and here are some bonuses for being here tonight. So I pitch pretty aggressively here. Okay. And oftentimes if the webinar itself is 60 minutes, I will pitch for 20 to 30 minutes. I will show them exactly what's in there. I will show them case studies. I will show them everything. And again, if you do it right, these are the easiest closes you will ever have. Easiest. Okay. So that's a breakdown of the whole process and funnel. Again, the biggest thing, if you take anything from this, is use webinars to re-engage old leads, not to get new ones. Use it to get old people who've been on the call with you back on the call again, okay? Because if you do that, you can do really well. All right, so now let me show you guys the full funnel, and then I'll give you a sample template deck slide that you can just check out too. All right, so this is my landing page, right? It calls out who the ideal avatar is. This is for online health and fitness coaches who want more clients. Title, how to sign 5 to 10 clients a month with Instagram ads in 2025. The ultimate Instagram ads playbook coaches are using to scale to 20 to 50K months. Live masterclass with me. And then here's the date and time, right? Underneath that would just be a super simple form field, name, phone number, email, and then sign up for the class. So when I first started, I didn't have a landing page. I just made a simple Google Calendar, like, bubble, blocked off a time. And anytime someone said yes, I was like, awesome, what's your email? And they tell me their email, and I would just add them as a guest to a Google Calendar event. That was really easy, but then now we get 300 to 400 registrations. I'm not doing that anymore. Okay, there's no way I'm going to do that anymore. And I already have funnels built out. We use Go High Level with ourselves and our clients as well. Love it, highly suggest it, but that's going to make your life so much easier, right? Then underneath this, who is this for? So this is for these people, and then what you're going to learn. All right, that's all it is. Super, super simple. And all these buttons should just go straight up to the top. So somebody would say, oh, I want to go to this, boom. They put it in, and then the next page is a super simple page that just says you're registered. Click this event to add it to your calendar. And if they click this, this is a software called Add Event. That's to my next little link over here. And what this allows people to do is it's just right here. And people can push add this to my calendar, and then it'll open up your Google Calendar pretty much right away. And then from here, I can just add this to my Google Calendar, right? And that's so easy and useful, right? Because we want them to show. They can add it to their Google Calendar, or if they have another software like Outlook, Yahoo, Apple, they can do it all there too. All right, so that's like the registration page. Now, once they're registered, you will want to email them and remind them about the event every day until the event, okay? On the day of the event, I typically send 2 emails. I'll send one in the morning, and I'll send one like 15 minutes before. Hey, it's getting started. Join here, right? The more invites you have, typically the better show rate you're going to have. So make sure to send these emails and remind people of the event. Okay. If you guys want to go through my full event, if you guys haven't gone to one of my events, I host these every month to 2 months. Just come to my event, copy and paste all my emails. I'm serious. All right. I'll have the link of this funnel listed below. It might not be open. You might not get the email sequences and stuff if it's not active. So in fact, you won't, but you can at least see what the funnel looks like. All right. So that's that. And now let's just talk about the simple slide deck. This is an example of a slide deck that I use. So my style with webinars, these do take a while, but you can see how I will just write on text for a lot of these, like just very, very simple text. So I have a lot of slides, but that's because I found that I can be more engaging if I have less text in them. Okay, so this is an older one. This is not one I currently have. If you want to come to that, just come to my next webinar. But I typically do use the same webinar slides for each webinar because I don't want to start from scratch again. If I know something converts at 10, 20%, I'm just going to use the same webinar topic and rinse and repeat it. So I start off with just like a, photo of myself and the title of it. And then I get people excited because I'm going to give them something special way at the end. Typically it's my offer, right? Here's how I can help. So just make sure to stick around to the end. And then I'll jump into the problems, right? So there's a good chance you're here because you feel these ways. You feel exhausted, you feel frustrated, and the people who are coming to you aren't qualified and can't afford your services. These are the big things that people come to us with problems of, right? These are the pain points. And then that's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to share with you in this video on how you can do blank, 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 right? How you can make 20K a month plus. Again, this is an older one. We help some people get to 50 to 100K months, but this is an older one, right? I'm going to show you a predictable way to do that, right? And I also add a bunch of fun little GIFs inside of here too, okay? And before I dive in, so it's like, hook, here's what you're going to learn, right? Here's the problem you have. And then I'm going to jump into my story. Okay. Before we dive in, let's talk about the problem. Actually, this is still digging into the problem before I get to my story. So I'm going to frame Instagram ads as the best way to get more clients because I'm going to talk about how organic reach has continued to drop year over year. It's dropped and only 5% of your people actually see your content, right? So if you have small following, you're in trouble. It's a pay to play game. You used to be able to just send cold DMs. Doesn't work anymore. Here's why. More problem, more problem, right? Which means you need a new strategy. Then I will then transition into what I'm going to be educating them on, right? So this is not, again, Instagram ads. This one's on the VSL, the free training funnel, to where somebody opts into a free training, they watch it, and then they book a call, right? So that's what this one in particular was selling. And here's my goals for the workshop. Here's what you're going to learn. And then I'm going to get into my story. Hey, here's me, right? But I'm also like, here's kind of a quick overview of me. I scale coaching programs. This is my stuff. This is my accreditations, blah, blah. But it wasn't like that always for me, right? Here's some problems I used to have, right? That relates to a lot of the ideal clients. And yeah, again, like a lot of them are just like one word or one sentence things. Love that. And then I'll talk about how I found this new solution and how it helped me get started my business. And now how I'm helping others do it too, right? And it's just this one's like a slide of a bunch of social proof. It is going to pop on top of each other. Pop, right? So I'm going to show you this now in 45 minutes because that first 15 minutes was me just like going through how I help. And then after that, it's going to be the 3 to 5 like steps of how to get the result. I'm not going to cover each of these, but I just go into detail, probably 5 to 10 slides per step. Or if it's not slides, I might pull up like my funnel and stuff like that. But I'll go through that full thing, right? And ideally, I'm finishing this up at the 60-minute mark, right? And then once I've done that, then I'm going to say, hey, all right, here's everything that we covered today. Do you guys think that if you follow these steps, you'll be able to get more clients every month, right? You only need one person to manage it for you and make it seem very simple, right? It's not hard setup. Here's all the things you have to do. Now, all you need is a virtual assistant to make this thing work, right? And then if it does, you just keep sending people to that funnel, right? And you don't have to send cold DMs again, right? And then it's like, are you excited about this? Wouldn't this make your life so much easier? But how many of you guys are feeling like this, like water hose, right? And then let me ask you a question, right? And then here's where I transition. Let me ask you a question. Can I talk about what I do? Can I talk about how I can help? And then I'll transition from there into a pitch. And again, my last slides that I did in my last presentation were a lot better than this one. But again, this one still worked, right? So it's like, let me tell you about how I help our clients with the Coaches Growth Accelerator, right? I did this to do this. Here's our 4-step process. Here's what the deliverables look like. Here's who this is for. Here's a case study. Here's a case study. If you don't know what type of coaching to do, don't worry. Again, this is an older stuff. You can see even the case studies here are 11K. 12K and 13K. Most of the case studies I have now are 20 to 50K because that's the avatar of client that I want to work with. So again, this is older. I don't necessarily want newbies, so I probably wouldn't have put this in there, right? So the first thing we're gonna do is this. The reason I put this up here is this was an objection of like, well, what if I don't know what type of coaching I want to do? And I handled that objection saying, don't worry, we'll help you do this right away. And then we'll help you get your first 5 clients. Then we'll help you launch this thing. And again, I wouldn't do that now, right? And then the last little bit would be, here's how to book a call to apply. Boom, right? So very, very simple. Again, my current slide deck for this, let me see if I can find it real quick because it's actually a lot more robust. So let me show you my last slideshow because I think this will give you more context. Okay, so this is my latest one. It's a lot longer. So this one, same thing. Hey, can I ask you a quick question about how I can help? Yeah, awesome. Here's what we're gonna do for you. Right? So mine has like, my current one has a lot more of like, here are the things that are be done for you, right? Here's what the support's going to look like. Here's what it's going to look like week by week. And I set this up to where all these things just appear one at a time. The first 3 months are going to be building foundations. The second months are going to be optimizing and scaling. We've done this with 400 plus health coaches and our satisfaction score is a 9.6. And then again, this slide, bunch of case studies, just pop. This is worth, I've spent more than $1 million learning these skills. And I've spent over $175,000 on masterminds. And some people will charge 15 to 30K for this. Alex Ramosi taught this to gym owners that charged 1K a week. All of our offers are between 5 and 10K. This is application only. So if you're interested in learning more, click the link below. You must qualify to work with us because we only take on clients we know we can help. And we're looking for health and fitness coaches who are, these are the things they already are, right? Able to invest in ads, have 10 hours a week to work plus, are coachable, right? Are hungry, motivated. And if you're not ready to run in ads, so this is kind of that objection similar to what I handled of like, what if I don't know who I want to serve? If you're not ready to invest in ads, we have an organic launch program designed to help you get cash within 90 days. So again, we do have a beginner program, but this topic itself is designed around Instagram ads, okay? And of course, those who came get more bonuses. We're doing a money back guarantee, right? If you don't get 20 new clients in 6 months, you don't pay. All you have to do is this, right? So again, if you don't get 20 new clients, you don't pay. If you charge $2,000 for your coaching program and you sign 20 clients, that's $40K in new revenue. And again, all of our offers are 5 to 10K. So you can see how I'm kind of framing like, you're going to pay me 5 to 10K to make 40K potential. I can't guarantee they're going to make 40K, but I can guarantee they'll sign 20 clients, right? More just like FTC. Application below, we're also going to give away our remote coaching app, which is like our Go High Level. And then lastly, we're going to give sales calls, sales coaching, and call reviews, because we don't just help with ads. We also want to help with you learning how to sell, because I can give you all the leads in the world, but if you can't close, it's not going to work. Right. And yeah, that kind of goes through, right? Here's everything you're going to get. Again, it's $44,000 of value. You're only going to be paying 5 to 10K with the money back guarantee. If you don't grow, you don't pay, right? We have multiple payment plans to apply blank. So you can see I went hard on this last one, where like the one I showed you before was a lot shorter and sweeter. You know, it's like 10 slides or so, but now this pitch one starts at 163 and finishes at 210. So that's 50 slides of pitching. And I'll tell you, I used to not feel very comfortable with this. When I got to this stage of pitching, I would start to sweat, and be like, people are going to think I'm salesy. And, as I've grown more in my skill set, in my confidence, in my offer, and in my confidence with being able to help these people, like this part's fun, right? And while I'm doing this pitch, I'm looking on Zoom and I'm seeing how many people are dropping off. And most of the time I do pretty good. Like the last webinar, we probably had 50 or 60 live, and about 45 to 50 stayed on through the full pitch. Sometimes people just hop off, but I'd say like 75, 80% of the people that were on the call stayed throughout the whole pitch, which is good, right? So that's what I got for you guys today. Again, my big encouragement is to start doing webinars. Just teach people how to do something, right? That's aligned with your offer. Tell them your story. Tell them how to do it from a high level overview. Pitch your offer hard at the end, and do this on a monthly basis, right? Quarterly basis at minimum. And what it's going to do is going to again make your ads more profitable, because it's going to be designed for people who are already in your ecosystem who just need some more nurturing. All right. So I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions about this stuff, hit me up on Instagram. You can find me at Dr. Matt Shiver. And if you haven't came to one of my master classes before, come learn, because you're going to learn how to do it so you can do it for yourself. And hands down, I wish I knew this skill and I practiced this skill sooner. My first webinar was in 2019, and it sucked all the way until probably 2023 when I started doing them more and felt more comfortable, right? But really, like now it's 2025. 2024 is when I felt really comfortable with the sales piece of it. So the sooner you start, the better you're going to get. And the better you get, the more money you're going to make, the more people you'll help. And that's what we're all in this for. All right. So that's all I got for today, guys. If you guys like this video, smash that subscribe button below so I can create more videos just like this to help you grow and scale online. Peace, y'all.